Welcome in, Falcons fans, to this very early edition of Falcons Today by Chat Sports. My name is Moose, and I'm sure you're wondering, we are very, very live, very, very early today. And I'll tell you exactly why that is here in just a second. But before we do that, while we wait for people to climb on in, who do you got? Falcons versus Bucks week 1. If you could just show him real quick if that's the correct factor, if that's the correct one or not. Okay, you got it. Yeah, no problem. Let me know who you got right here. Week 1, Tampa Bay versus the Dirty, Dirty Birds. Who do you got winning? We got 34 people rocking in the house with us. And like I said, I'm sure you're wondering, why are we early? Why are we so live so early at 11:30 Eastern? I'll tell you that here in just a second. But let's get some ATLs flowing in the chat, boys and girls. Come on now. Aiden, what up, my guy? He says, Moose, my man. Objective thinker, great to see you, my friend. I'm a Falcons fan, but I have a little concern, or I have a little confidence in Raheem Morris. You know what? I'm cautiously optimistic. I am cautiously optimistic, my friend. Tom, what up, dude? He says Tampa Bay. Boo! Michael saying ATL. Thomas saying ATL. Boyd saying ATL. Invest Guy saying ATL. Double ATL, actually. XSDSG. I don't know how to say that, but I'm just going to read off those letters. He's saying ATL. Raymond, what up, my guy? He's saying ATL. Michael, rise up, baby. Joel saying ATL. Good to see you guys. Objective Thinker saying appreciate the standpoint. I hope they do well. Do you think the skepticism is valid, or do you think we're being severely overlooked from Matt? It's tough to say at this point because we have not seen any single starter play in the preseason. Look, your guess is as good as mine right now. This is the problem when you have a head coach that decides to bench all of your starters before week 1. You really have no indication in the preseason of how a specific player is going to look. So when media members come out and say, well, the Falcons are here because we didn't see anybody play, I feel like that's valid. However, I don't want to be the one that's like, no, the Falcons are going to suck, because I don't think that's the case. So it's just kind of going to see, like, first 4 weeks are going to be very telling here for the Dirty Birds. Now, I did mention to you that I was going to tell you why exactly we're live so early. Well, it's because later today I have to catch a flight. I've got to catch a flight to my wedding. I get married this weekend. So, no, I will not be here for the live show against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, unfortunately. I get to marry my best friend this weekend. And listen, I got to tell you, she is literally the best thing that's ever happened to me. Her name is Alexis, and she has spent so much time, put so much energy into this last couple of months of planning our wedding, where I have been kind of like the one that, what do you need? What do you need me to do? How can I help you? But she's been unbelievable. She has been unbelievable. If you want to check that message from Jack real quick, because I know he's getting in our little group Slack. I can't imagine my life without her. She has been my best friend and the love of my life now for the last 5 years, and I cannot imagine a life without her. So when I asked her to marry me about 1.5 years ago, I thought this day would never come. It felt like it was so far out in the ether, and it appears in just a few short days. So I'll be catching a flight to Minneapolis, where she is from. What's up? Yeah, hold on one second. I apologize, guys. We're getting stuff from our okay. No, it's not the right one. We're still gonna do the same thing. We'll hit Prize Picks first, if that's cool. We'll do Prize Picks first, then we'll hit Factor and just do what's there, and we'll kind of go from here. Thank you, Invest Guy. I appreciate it. Congratulations on the nuptials. Yeah, this is a big day for me. Like I said, I don't have any other words other than, I'm so ready to share my life with her. And before I get on with today's show and what we've got offered up, because there are ways for you to help out. We're not going to do that yet. We're going to do the ads first. I do have to tell you about our sponsor today, a double dose of sponsors if you will. Our first one being Prize Picks. Football season is officially back, Dirty Birds fans, and that means you get to win real money watching your sports all season long with our friends at Prize Picks. All you have to do is go to your app store, click the download button, and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. 2 to 6 players, their stat projections, their more or lesses. Download the Prize Picks app today and win real money all season long. Run your game with Prize Picks. Also, Factor Meals. Trust me when I tell you this entire summer has been nuts for me planning this wedding. So there are so many days where I don't have any time to get in a meal, and that's exactly where Factor comes in. They have got more than 65 weekly meals made for how I live and what I like to eat. And I've got even more ways to fit in a real meal wherever the day takes me with Factor. They've got more variety, more meals, and you can choose from a wider selection of weekly meal options. Eat smart at factormeals.com/FalconsChat50 off and use code FalconsChat50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code FalconsChat50 off at factormeals.com for 50% off plus free shipping. Get delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with our friends at Factor. So today is my last single show. It's our first and last little deal before I end up getting married, tying the knot, and putting that ring on my finger. So if you would like to donate to today's show, it would go a long way in helping me. A $5 super chat, some beers, cheers. A $10 super chat, I'm adding a tally. So I have a list right here that says wedding beers. For every $10 that you throw in there, I have to drink another beer at the wedding. A $5 super chat today will get a beers cheers today. A $20 super chat will be the honeydew wheel, which I've kind of figured Alexis can come up with. So if you send in a 20, that's another thing that I have to do once I tie the knots. And of course, if you send in a $50 super chat, we're ripping a beer bong live on today's show. What's up?
So
you're good.
I'm going to assume it's right.
Yeah.
If it's wrong, it's wrong. Not a big deal.
Sure.
We can do it on Sunday.
Okay.
I switched your Q&A. I'm going to make that Prize Picks as well.
Okay.
Just make the second segment Factor
Okay.
and see. It's not our fault. It's, people are down into it.
Okay.
So
That's fine.
we're going to assume it's right.
Yeah.
And just keep going.
So, all right. So the only thing you switched up was.
I changed the fourth segment to Prize Picks.
Okay.
Everything else is the same.
Got it.
Mailbag's going to be less. Do it. Yeah.
Got it.
Just do it like you would with that script, that last script that you had from July. If it's wrong, it's wrong. We'll fix it on Sunday.
Sounds good. Sorry, we're talking to our ad guy right here, trying to make sure all of our T's and I's are crossed and dotted here. But if you would like to send in a quick little super chat, that would go a long way. It's a nice little donation and a way to help support not only me, but Falcons today before the season gets started. Speaking of today's show, final Falcons versus Bucks preview, because we got to talk ball, right? It's not just about the Moose show today. We're talking Dirty Birds football. Final Falcons versus Bucks preview. Then my final Falcons record prediction. Actually, we're going to switch those up, so I'm going to do the record prediction first. We're going to get into a mailbag, your Q&As. Use hashtag Falcons or send in a super chat. And then, of course, a little bonus one for you guys today. 5 Falcons difference makers for the 2025 season. I've identified 5 players on the Falcons, and no, they're not the stereotypical ones like Drake London or Bijan Robinson. These are 5 players that I believe have new expectations on this team in order to be successful in 2025. It is a bunch of crazy stuff so far. Let's do this. We got 88 people in the building rocking with us today. I want to get to at least 30 likes before we start. We got to get to 30. That's 12 likes away. I feel like that's totally doable. Hit that thumbs up icon. Let's get to 30 likes before we start today's first episode. Objective thinker, I could not agree more. So hit that thumbs up icon. We'll talk some football. Pierce, I appreciate you, my friend. Brandon, thank you so much. Raymond, appreciate it, my friend. Archangel, absolute legend of the show. Listen, everybody was saying like, oh my God, Petey, when he left, he got married. This guy's going to leave us. I promise you, I'm not leaving. I won't be here week 1. But after that, I'm all yours. I promise. I'm not leaving. I'm not going anywhere. Not going anywhere. Oh, look at that. We just got to 42 likes. We're good to go. All right. So we're going to start with the record prediction. Producer Casey is on the ones and twos today. I know you guys have been asking about Producer Reed. He has been kind of jumping in and flexing out help. Producer Casey is one of the best and brightest here at Chat Sports of our new producers. He is absolutely more than capable of taking this channel with me to new heights, and we are so ready for 2025 Atlanta Falcons football. So, here we go. Are you ready? Let's get into my final and first, believe it or not, because I've never done it on this channel, Atlanta Falcons record prediction for the 2025 season. What's up, Dirty Bird fans? Welcome into the show today. Falcons Today by Chat Sports. My name is Trace Moustakis, your host for the 2025 season. And coming up on today's episode, my final and first Atlanta Falcons 2025 record prediction. I just realized I never gave you my full prediction for the Dirty Birds. So what do I have them going in 2025? So we're going to go through this game by game. That's how this is going to go. I'm going to give you each matchup a little mini, tiny little preview, and I'll tell you who I think wins and who I think loses. Let's start, of course, with the game coming up this Sunday, the Week 1 matchup, Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Dirty Birds. Believe it or not, I have the Falcons coming away with a W Week 1, 27-24. Now, one of the main questions that we've had on this channel is how fast are the Atlanta Falcons going to start, considering Raheem Morris did not play any of his starters during the preseason. I do believe that in the atmosphere in Atlanta, in a divisional game, Week 1 of the Michael Penix Jr. era, officially, the Falcons are going to be riding high. I think there's going to be a very close game. It's going to be back and forth, but I believe the Falcons squeak out a win Week 1 to start 1-0. Let's go to Week 2 against the Minnesota Vikings. Now, this one, I went back and forth on this because J.J. McCarthy has not played a single game. So offensively speaking, it's a total mystery of what the Vikings are going to be right now. However, I do think that Brian Flores is probably, if not top 3 of the defensive coordinators in the NFL right now. He is the ultimate blitz calling, playmaking defensive coordinator. So I do have the Falcons losing this one 23-16. I just don't know how this is going to work with Kaleb McGary out for the entirety of the season and with how good Brian Flores is at scheming blitzes. He blitzes the most out of any defensive coordinator in the NFL. So I do think the Falcons fall to go down to 1-1. Week 3 looks like this against the Carolina Panthers. It's another road matchup. I think the Panthers suck. I don't see them getting any better this year. They traded away Adam Thielen. So, of course, I say the Falcons win this one, 28-17. So the Falcons start off 2-1. I think this is a really easy game for Michael Penix to really showcase his ability and go up against a very, very poor Carolina Panthers secondary, which was like dead last year in opponents' points per game. Then things get back a little bit more tough, and now you're going to start noticing the next couple of games get really hard for the Dirty Birds. Week 4 against the Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels came out and proved everybody wrong. I couldn't believe what I saw from him last year. So unfortunately, I say the Falcons lose this one 31-20. So they start off 2-2, and Washington got better after an unreal rookie season from Jaden Daniels. Traded for Deebo Samuel. They've beefed up their defense. Their offensive line is still, I wouldn't say it's great, but it's probably middle of the pack. I just think that they're too good right now to get beat. I have this team going really, really far in the 2025 season. So 2-2 right now for the Dirty Birds. That's what I've got in their first 4 games. Do you agree or do you disagree? If you're watching this during our live show, get down in the live chat and let me know. But if you're watching in our regular recording, make sure you get down in the comment section. Like I told you, it gets really tough because the next week, after the bye week in Week 5, your Week 6 matchup is against the Buffalo Bills. Granted, it's at home. However, Buffalo is one of the most loaded teams in the entirety of the NFL. So I do have the Falcons losing 34-21. So now they're 2-3. I'm sure you're looking at this going, who the hell is this guy talking about us being 2-3? Relax. It gets better, but not right away. because week 7 going up against the San Francisco 49ers, I think this is one of those games that they squeak out a loss. This is going to be really, really close. In fact, I could see the Falcons leading this entire game. Unfortunately, with the play calling of Kyle Shanahan and maybe a fumble here or an interception here or a late field goal here, I think San Francisco squeaks out a win. So I think now the Falcons are 2-4. And you're probably looking at this going, who the hell is this guy? Why is he talking so much shit? Well, it starts to get better. Why? Because week 8, then you can start to run the gauntlet. This next, week 8 through week 14 is so favorable for the Dirty Birds. Week 8 against the Dolphins. W. There it is. Putting it up on the board for you. Falcons beat the Dolphins. The Dolphins secondary might be the worst in the NFL. No joke. It is awful. They got rid of Jalen Ramsey. Their number 1 is a guy named Storm Duck. Yes. Actual name, real cornerback, look him up. This feels like an easy win at home for the Falcons. Then they go up against the New England Patriots. Another young quarterback on young quarterback battle here. Michael Penix Jr. versus Drake May. I do think the Falcons win this one very, very close. The Patriots have definitely beefed up their team. Got a brand new head coach in Mike Vrabel, but I do believe this is the opposite of the San Francisco game. I think this is one where a nice favorable bounce or a favorable play goes for the Falcons. MPJ versus Drake May, and I think MPJ's a better quarterback. I think he's a better pure passer. So Falcons win this one close to improve now to 4-4 on the season. Now we're at the halfway point. 500. Do you think the Falcons will be better than 500 at the halfway point? 8 games in 9 weeks. Let me know in the comment section down below. I think you're right at 500. Now, coming up, I got the second half of the season, and like I told you, very favorable stuff for the Dirty Birds coming up here in the next couple of weeks. But before we do that, I have to tell you about today's sponsor, and that, of course, is our friends over at Prize Picks. Listen, football is back. I don't know if you watched any of those college football games over the weekend. I sure did, but let me tell you this. I can't wait for the rest of college football and pro football. And that's where Prize Picks comes in. It's the best way to win real money this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. Very simple to play. Just pick 2 to 6 players and their stat projections, and then pick the more or the less. I was a glutton all week, and I went more. I lost big, but that doesn't mean that you have to also. So go to your app store, click the download button, and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. I'll have all of that in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks. Run your game. Week 10, the Colts. Come on. Easy dub. Falcons win 29-16. I might be alone in this sentiment, and maybe you feel the same way, Falcons fans. I think the Colts are one of the worst teams in the entire NFL. Their starting quarterback is Indiana Jones, a.k.a. Daniel Jones, a.k.a. New York Giants failure Daniel Jones. I think the Falcons win this one easy. In fact, I think this is a dominant win for the Dirty Birds to start getting some momentum as you build your way on through the season. And then, of course, Week 11, you're back with Carolina. Clean sweep, get the brooms out. Falcons win at home. Come on. You didn't think that I was actually going to think the Panthers could beat the Falcons. Let's be real. 26-21. And I know what everybody's thinking. Oh, Bryce Young played a little bit better last year after he got benched for Andy Dalton. Bryce Young sucks. I'm sorry. 5 foot. He's the same height as me, and he moves about as fast as I do. So, sorry, Bryce Young fans. I don't see them getting any better this year. Falcons win clean sweep. Let's go to Week 12 against the New Orleans Saints. Yes, I know our little producer, or not producer, our other Saints host. There he is looking at me right here. Mr. Trizzy Trace Gerard. At home, Falcons win 23-14. You mean to tell me that Spencer Rattler is going to come into Mercedes-Benz and beat you? And maybe at that point, it's Tyler Shuck. Who knows? Who cares? Aints lose, Falcons win. That's a dub. We're climbing the dubs. We're stacking them up, baby. Because next week, you play the Jets in New York. Justin Fields, a.k.a. One Reed Justin. Nah, It's not going to happen. Falcons win this one too. There's some nice momentum brewing here in ATL as you get to week 13. Falcons have a very workable schedule in the second half of the season. I feel like this middle part might be the easiest in the NFL and a great way to showcase your ability and get more players, more confidence, and more reps as the weeks go along. Unfortunately, it gets a little bit more difficult as time goes on. Week 14, at home against the other birds, the Seattle Seahawks. I also think this one is very, very close. I think the Seattle Seahawks win this one against Atlanta. I think it's close. Last year, Sam Darnold for the Vikings had his best season. I don't think he'll be nearly as good as he was last year. I do think, though, that he's back to that kind of like right in the middle, 15th or 16th best quarterback in the NFL. So, toss up for me here. I go Falcons lose at home 23-20. Then week 15 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I have them splitting with the Bucs. I think the Bucs are a very talented team, especially on offense, so I can't have the Falcons sweeping them. I go a loss in Tampa Bay. Falcons lose 28-21. Then you go back to the desert against the Arizona Cardinals, and I have the Falcons winning this one. I think Kyler Murray at this point in the season is done with the Cardinals. I think this is his last year as the Cardinals quarterback. I think they're done with him and his work ethic. If he doesn't produce this year, he's going to be gone. I think there's a trade that happens at least maybe halfway through the season or in the offseason. I don't see Kyler Murray being the franchise quarterback for the Desert Birds out there in Arizona. So I do have the Falcons winning that one against the Arizona Cardinals. Week 17, our final two matchups against the Rams. Rams are a more talented team. I'm sorry to say it. They're just better. I think the Falcons lose, although I do think they keep it somewhat close. And then to round out the season against the Aints in New Orleans, Falcons win 35-19. Stop it. Falcons sweep. Clean sweep, baby. Let's go. So altogether, I'm sure you're wondering, what is that final record? 10-7. I have the Falcons going 10-7 this year. I think with Michael Penix Jr., Bijan Robinson, and Drake London, and a breakout season for Kyle Pitts, I think this offense can do a lot of damage. It's going to be a bend but don't break mentality on defense, and if they can do that, 10 wins is absolutely achievable. So let me know. Get down in the comments section, O for over or U for under. That's going to do it for us on today's episode of Falcons Today by Chat Sports. My name is Moose. If you agree with everything that I'm saying right now, let me know. And if you disagree, at least let me know down there as well so we can kind of go back and forth and talk a little bit about why you think I am wrong. Until next time, Falcons fans, rise up and be cool. That just feels like, I feel like 10-7 is pretty fair. You know what I mean? I feel like there's a couple of games, because every single year, there is at least one game that you should win that you lose, and every year there's a game you should lose that you win. It happens every single season. So I feel like that could be, the one that I think you should win but you end up losing could be the San Francisco 49ers. They lost a lot of guys, so on paper, they're not nearly as good, but Kyle Shanahan, man, he's such a great freaking offensive coordinator and coach. Let's see what you guys said. Ark says 10-7 is realistic. Michael says I have 10-7-2, but I honestly feel like we can sneak 2 more wins. 10 wins is real. Okay, so look, I feel like most people are kind of realistic about what we've got. But that win streak, week 8 through week 13, that is such a workable schedule. Come on. I think that's, you could absolutely win 6 games in a row. Don't you think? Yeah, I agree. All right, put up that List 4 logo real quick. We're going to show them the Super Chat menu, and then what we've got coming up next. So we'll hit those back to back. 75 people rocking in the building with us. And this is probably the one that you are looking forward to the most coming up here in just a second. Let's do that right after I tell them about what's coming. Yeah, there we go. The Falcons versus Bucs preview. I'm sure you're wondering, how do the Falcons take on the Bucs? How do they win? in week 1. I'll tell you. I've highlighted some previous statistics from 2024. On paper, the Buccaneers' offense against the Falcons' defense is a mismatch because of how good they were last year. However, I don't think they'll be nearly as good because they lost Liam Cohen. He's now with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I highlighted that. I also think there are some key to victories, though, that if the Falcons do, they can win this game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So we're going to get into our Falcons versus Bucs preview. Then we're going to get into our 5 difference makers, and we'll end today's show with a mailbag. By the way, in case you are just joining us, welcome. It is my last single show. Correct. I get married this weekend. So that's the reason we're starting this show early. That's the reason that, we're doing all this stuff right now, on a Tuesday at 11:30 or 12 o'clock. Yeah, not yet. No, not quite.
By the way, where in the world are all these Panthers fans getting all this confidence in Bryce Young?
I have no idea.
Where the fuck is that guy?
I have no idea. Bryce Young sucks.
We hate each other, but where in the shit are these Panthers fans coming from? What? Excuse me, are they not the Carolina Panthers?
They suck, dude.
Their quarterback.
They're awful.
He's dog shit.
Yeah, he's terrible.
He's bad.
He's literally my size. We're both 5'9", and I weigh more than he does. He's bad. He's really bad. But you know what? So are you guys. Boo the Saints. Boo!
Here's the thing. We all know what happens when you guys come.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's our Saints Now host, the other Trace at the office. The other Trace. But, we don't ever give Saints fans any credit here. It's not something we do. It's not something we do. All right, 10-7 is my official prognostication for the Dirty Birds. All right, so remember, this is my last single show, getting married this weekend. So if you do want to donate and send in a little $5 super chat, producer Casey and I will beers cheers. A $10 super chat adds a wedding beer. A $20 super chat is the honeydew wheel. So there's a list of stuff that my fiance right now has for me to do. And she said if for every $20 that they send in, it's going to add another thing to your list. So if you want to make me work after the wedding is done, $20, and then of course a $50 super chat and a beer bong will come your way as well. Just a little way to help out and donate back to the show and help out Falcons today. All right, let's get into our second cut. We're going to do our keys to victory and our full final preview for Tampa Bay versus the Dirty, Dirty Birds coming up here this Sunday. Week 1 is right around the corner. This Sunday, to be exact. A divisional matchup between the Atlanta Falcons and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Welcome in, Falcons fans, to Falcons Today by Chat Sports. My name is Moose. You want to know how the Falcons can win? Let's talk about it. But before we do that, don't jinx it. Don't be the guy that doesn't like today's video if you think, it doesn't matter. This doesn't mean anything. It doesn't help the Falcons win at all. Well, if the Falcons lose and you didn't like the video, probably going to think to yourself, man, I really should have hit that thumbs up icon. So show some support to your Atlanta Falcons and hit that thumbs up button. Let's go to the playmakers for the Falcons. Let's start with this. I've highlighted 5 guys that I believe are going to be the people and the players for the Birds that are going to be leaned upon heavily on offense and defense. Michael Penix Jr., Bijan Robinson, Drake London on the offensive side of the ball, and then, of course, Jesse Bates and Caden Ellis on the defensive side of the ball. Those are the players that I believe are your true bona fide playmakers that are going to have to step up in order to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But they also have some new additions. The rookies, Jalen Walker, James Pierce Jr., Billy Bowman at nickel corner. But then, of course, you also went and did some stuff in free agency as well. You got Leonard Floyd and Divine Diablo from the Raiders. So there's a lot more to this Falcons defense right now than meets the eye. In fact, for the most part, from what I saw over training camp and the preseason, granted none of the starters really played outside of a couple of rookies, I was really, really happy with what I saw from the Falcons defense. I really was. I thought for all intents and purposes, that this is going to be a newly identified and new defensive ideology for this 2025 Falcons team. I think when you look at the structuring of what they were able to do in preseason and the offseason, there is clearly a goal, and that is to shore up the defense. I don't think Raheem Morris has any qualms with the offense. I think he's leaving that up to Zach Robinson. I think he says, I have full faith, full confidence in you. If we start off hot and start off fast, we're going to be just fine. Defensively, though, is where they've put their more time and energy, not only in the draft, but in preseason training camp, etc. And last year, if you remember, this Falcons defense wasn't very good. 23rd in total yards allowed per game. Passing yards per game, they were 22nd at 224.5. They were actually a little bit better against the run. They ranked right in the middle, actually top half of the NFL at 15th. So I can't think for any reason that they're going to be worse this year, considering all of the talent that they've brought in this offseason, especially highlighted by your 2 first-round picks, Jalen Walker, James Pierce Jr. So which Falcon are you most excited to see play week 1? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'm going to say my answer right now is Jalen Walker on defense. Offensively, it's got to be the quarterback. It's got to be MPJ. But let me know in the comment section down below. Let's go with the Bucs playmakers. We got to talk about them for a little bit, okay? Baker, Bucky, Mike Evans, Vita Vea, and Levante David. Those are kind of like your heavy hitters, especially Baker, Bucky, and Mike Evans. They also have some new additions, nothing nearly as talented, in my opinion, as what the Falcons brought in, but they did draft Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State, Jacob Parrish, the cornerback from Kansas State, and Hassan Reddick in free agency. But I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm not worried about Tampa Bay's defense. It's the offense that gives me some pause, because last year, they were really good. 3rd in total yards per game, 3rd in passing yards per game, and in rushing yards per game, they were 4th. Bucky Irving is a hell of a talented player. So you're going to have to not only stop Baker and this passing attack, but you're also going to have to stop Bucky Irving, who has proven that he is a really, really solid. His rookie season was unbelievable. However, I'm not here to glaze the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's not what we do. We got to give some perspective. They were good last year, yes. But Tampa lost Liam Cohen to the Jaguars. You lose a really, really good offensive coordinator to become a head coach, a lot can happen in an entire season. So maybe there's something that doesn't gel between Baker Mayfield, their new offensive coordinator, Mike Evans, etc. Maybe this is the opportunity for the Atlanta Falcons to go out there and dominate the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Offensively or defensively? You let me know. What's more important week 1 for the Atlanta Falcons? Offense, type O. Defense, type D. If I had to put it right now, based on how I'm feeling today at the time of this recording, it's defense. I really am not worried about Michael Penix Jr., Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, or this Falcons offensive line, to be completely honest, outside of maybe the right tackle position. I have all the faith in the world in this offense. Defensively, you got to go out and make key stops. Let me know in the comment section. Coming up, the Falcons' keys to victory. 4 things the Falcons need to do in order to secure the win. We talked a little bit about what the Falcons have on offense, on defense, and we talked a little bit about the Bucs. Now it's how the Falcons can win. But before we get into that, I have to tell you about today's sponsor, and that, of course, is Factor Meals. As someone who has spent the entire summer planning a wedding, let me tell you, it has been tough to get my meals in, especially as someone who likes to go to the gym and eat healthy. And that's where Factor Meals comes in. Some days, all I've got is a couple minutes, but they help me eat smarter with tasty, chef-prepared meals that are dietitian approved and delivered right to my door. And now with more than 65 weekly meals made for how I live and what I like to eat, I've got even more ways to fit in a real meal wherever the day takes me. You can savor global flavors, and for the first time, try Asian-inspired meals with bold flavors influenced by China, Thailand, and more. You can eat smart at factormeals.com/FalconsChat50 off and use code FalconsChat50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code FalconsChat50 off at factormeals.com for 50% off plus free shipping. Get delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. I'll have all of that in the comments and description of today's video. So what's our key to victory? Our first key to victory. Michael Penix Jr.'s got to get into a rhythm. You got to come out firing on all cylinders. This was the most important thing that I brought up to Raheem Morris. That was my message to him throughout the entire preseason. I don't mind that you didn't play your starters in the preseason, but you better hope and pray and be prepared week 1 to come out looking sharp. And that, of course, starts with MPJ, the leader of this team, the franchise quarterback. So what does he specifically have to do? Well, believe it or not, it actually comes in the hands of Zach Robinson. He needs to scheme quick throws to start. Get the ball out quickly. Get it in the hands of your playmakers. Check downs to Bijan. Slant routes to Drake London. If Darnell Mooney plays, wide receiver screens, to Darnell Mooney. There are plenty of ways to make sure that that ball comes out 1, 2, 3, drop, throw. It's very, very simple. But you've got to scheme that. You can't have these long, drawn-out plays, 7-step drops, Michael Penix Jr. doing these long, drawn-out play-action bootlegs. Get the ball out quick, and once the Tampa Bay defense comes up, that's when you can air it out. So start with those quick scheme throws to begin with. Our second key to victory, ground and pound with Bijan. So in the event that you can't get the quick game going, right? And you're like, man, they're really coming after MPJ. They're blitzing a lot. Ground and pound with Bijan. You got one of the best running backs in the NFL. Top 3. Easy. And last year proved exactly what we were talking about. This dude almost had 2,000 yards from scrimmage. 15 total touchdowns. Dark horse candidate for MVP last year. Front runner, in my opinion, for it this year. So how do you do it? Smash mouth it. Just pound the rock all day long until that defense plays up. Once they stack the box, take the top off with play action. That's when you can start getting a little bit more creative, a little bit more artsy, a little bit more flowy. But until then, give the ball to your best playmaker. It's Bijan. He's the best player on your offense. It's not close. Give him the ball early, often, always. And just watch everything flow from that. A good ground game will complement a very nice pass game and vice versa. Our third key to victory, defensively speaking. Bend but don't break on defense. I don't think it needs to be said. Tampa Bay has a good offense. They've got too many good players. They've got too good of an offensive line in order to be not taken seriously. They've got a good offense. They will score. However, there is an opportunity now to adopt the bend but don't break mentality, especially when you're inside the 20s. Be smart with your blitz packaging. And when you get inside the 20, rather when Tampa Bay drives inside the red zone, switch to man coverage. Put the pressure on them. Beat them off the line of scrimmage a little bit. No diddy. I know you like that one down there. But my point remains the same. There are ways to be smart and there are ways to be aggressive, but you've got to pick and choose your times to do so. Because if you go man coverage at the 40-yard line, Mike Evans could absolutely torch you. He's been too good for too long. So bend but don't break. Force field goals if you have to. But especially when you're inside the red zone, make sure you lock it up. And then, of course, this is a special teams one. You can't miss in the clutch. I'm looking at Koo. No, not you. Looking at Koo. And the reason I say this is because last year Koo did not do well. It was a disappointing year. I think the leash is short. And that's why Lenny Krieg is currently on the practice squad. He's waiting in the wings. This is your opportunity now to showcase, hey, I realized last year was not so good. Now I'm locked in. And you can't miss in the clutch. Because the difference in these divisional games are so close. The margin for error in these divisional games is so tiny that a missed field goal at any point in the first, second, third, or fourth quarter could be the difference in the ball game. That could be the difference between 24 to 21 or 20 to 17 or 27-24. Field goals, special teams play will absolutely matter more in divisional games. And the same goes for the punting unit. Bradley Pinion, you got to be able to flip the field, my friend. All of it works together. It bleeds in harmony as one. So what's your final score prediction for week 1? Give me the Birds, 27-24 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home. That's going to do it for us on today's episode. A reminder to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Don't jinx the video. Make sure you hit that thumbs up icon. And as always, Falcons fans, rise up and be cool. Sweet. How you guys feeling on this this random Tuesday at noon for you guys? It's 11 o'clock here in Dallas. I think we got a lot of people talking right now about the Saints. They're talking about the Saints in the chat right now. Dat one Falcons fan says, Falcons 25, Bucks 28. Not being negative, but we need to be real. We are 1-4 in home season openers, and Todd Bowles is 3-0. Yes, but Michael Penix Jr. has never started a game for you. Not in the he started 3 games last year, but he has not started a he's not started a home opener. I feel like when you have a new quarterback, a new franchise QB, everything that you've done in the last couple of seasons gets thrown out. It's out the window. It's gone. You've got to set new expectations. You've got to have more realistic, based off of their strengths and what they do, because the game planning is completely different. Yeah, we did start early. Amon coming in. He's a fan favorite of the show. Yeah, we did start early. I'm getting married this weekend, so we had to start early because I have to catch a flight tonight at 6 o'clock, and I've got a lot of other stuff that I got to get done today before we head, into the. We got a couple meetings that producer Casey and I got to go to. I'm starting to lose my train of thought here because I'm trying to thinking about the next segment in my head because I'm in that work mode. Appreciate that, Amon. Thank you so much, my friend. A reminder that if you do want to support the channel, geez Louise, I'm getting so many. There we go. Okay, we're good. I'm getting so many notifications right now from not only Slack but from Twitter and stuff. It's just my phone is bzz, 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 bzz. That one Falcons fan, I hope you agree with me. You know what I'm saying? I realize you're going off of the past here. I realize you're going off of what has happened in the last couple of seasons. But you got a brand new quarterback, man. You got to start fresh. It's a clean slate. And thank you, by the way, for your kind words. I do appreciate that. Last single show. The next time you see me, I'll have a ring on my finger. So if you do want to help donate to the channel and to my wedding, I'd greatly appreciate it. This is what our Super Chat menu looks like today. It's very, very easy and simple to follow along. We'll get a little beers cheers going today. A wedding beer. I've got a tally right now of all the $10 Super Chats that come in, and if we get one, I'll add another wedding beer to that list. The honeydew wheel, my fiance has an entire wheel at home of stuff that she wants me to do. And she goes, for every $20 super chat, she's like, I'm adding another thing to the wheel. So if you guys want to make me work when I get home from the wedding, please don't, but please do at the same time. And also, if you send in a $50 super chat, we'll rip a beer bong here live on the show. Okay, let's get into our 5 Falcons difference makers. Then we'll end the show with our mailbag. So we're getting 4 cuts today. We got 92 people rocking with us. 81 people have liked today's video. That's unbelievable. Appreciate you guys for stepping in, showing out, and making this last and first live show before the season starts a really good one. Okay. We're in a good spot right now. Yeah, we should be good. We've got about 30 minutes before, so 2 15-minute shows each we look at, and then we'll end today's live show. Yeah, sounds good.
We need to maybe tell them too. We could use a little more questions with the hashtag Falcons.
Yeah, we'll say that right after. By the way, before we start with this this next cut here, make sure that for our mailbag, you use hashtag Falcons to start asking your questions about week 1, because we're going to answer those in our mailbag and you can get featured. But you have to use hashtag Falcons. James says, bro, everyone is so stuck on the past, but we literally have a whole new culture. That's what I'm saying. New quarterback, new culture. You've got to wipe it fresh. You got to start clean. It's a clean slate. Trust the process, my friend. All right. You ready to rock and roll?
We're ready.
Let's do this. A little bonus episode for you Dirty Birds fans. 5 new difference makers for the Atlanta Falcons. New standouts for this 2025 season. So you're not going to see Bijan Robinson on this list. You're not going to see Kyle Pitts on this list. You're not going to see Drake London on this list. 5 new players and players that have bigger expectations for them heading into this season. Make sure that you hit subscribe for Falcons videos, my friend, and click that little bell notification to stay updated whenever we post a video. So like I said, I've highlighted 5 new players that I believe can make a difference in 2025. These are players that either have not had a huge role prior to this season or they're new to the team entirely. Let's start, of course, with this first list. Our first new difference maker probably doesn't really need to be said. In fact, you're probably going to see the first 2 guys on this list as kind of chalk takes. Jalen Walker, first-round pick out of Georgia. And Walker and Pierce, believe it or not, are just, they're like yin and yang of each other. So let's talk a little bit about Walker and who he is as a player, because it's been a while since really the draft that we've talked about who he is as a player. He's a combo edge that can stuff the run. I don't think necessarily what he is as a pure pass rusher is ever going to be the likes of a guy like TJ Watt. But I also believe that he has the ability to set the edge not only as a pass rusher, but as someone that can stop the run, because he's got such a strong lower half to bull rush offensive linemen. So you can penetrate, giggity, the pocket, the backfield, and either sack the quarterback or make opposing running backs' lives a living hell, especially ones that maybe don't have that quick of a burst. He's also got really creative entry angles because of his smaller size, and I don't mean his weight. His height is a little bit smaller than what you're looking for. So he has to get creative with his literal size in order to bend around opposing offensive linemen. But with that being said, he's got average bend. So with that creativity comes a lack of that stereotypical bend around a offensive tackle like you see the likes of like a Micah Parsons, a TJ Watt, a Myles Garrett. He does need to continue to develop his off-ball instincts, so someone that maybe could drop back just a little bit or survey kind of the middle of the field when he's not rushing the quarterback. And that has kind of led to be a little bit of a drifter. I feel like when his vision isn't clear of what he's supposed to be doing. There have been games in college where he just kind of disappears. But I'm not worried about Jalen Walker. I'm not. He's too talented. He was one of those like plug and play ready edges day one. I saw that on the tape. I wasn't worried about it. I don't think I'll ever be worried about it because I feel like from day one, he is solid right off the bat. I think he's your stereotypical anchor edge defender, the ultimate stabilizer. Someone that might not go out and get you 16 sacks ever, but will always be around 8 to 11, but also can do it against the run, something that the likes of Micah Parsons, who was just recently traded, struggled with at some point. Wasn't nearly as good at stopping the run, and that's a reason that Jerry Jones got rid of him. Jalen Walker didn't have that problem. He could do both. So let's move on to our second difference maker, James Pierce Jr. Now, like I said, it's a yin and yang between these two. James Pierce Jr. might not be as pro-ready as Jalen Walker, but what he does give you is the highest upside of the two. His ceiling is through the roof. If James Pierce Jr. hits, this could be a 15 sacks a year guy. He is that talented. Go back and watch the tape at Tennessee. It's incredible watching what this guy can do. His size, his speed, his athleticism, it's unmatched out of any of the pass rushers that went in this draft. I truly believed he was one of the most talented players in this draft. And because he got a bad review from his teammates, he slid. But he's got supreme speed. He takes wide angles to combat tackles, and he can bend around. He's so productive. And he's got that prototypical size that you're looking for in your franchise edge. I truly believe that if there was one player that you were going to say in 2 to 3 years, which Atlanta Falcon, is going to have 14 sacks on this team, you would say James Pierce Jr. So let me know, speaking of sacks, who has more their rookie season? Jalen Walker, type JW. James Pierce Jr., type JP. Year one, I'm going to go Jalen Walker. Maybe like one more. Maybe 1.5 more. Either way, let me know in the comment section down below. That doesn't mean that I don't believe in James Pierce Jr., but I think day one, week one, who's more ready? It's Jalen Walker. Now, before I get into my next difference makers, do me a favor and download the Prize Picks app today. It is the best place to get real money sports action all football season long. Pick 2 to 6 players and their stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. It's the best place to win cash while watching sports. You could join millions of users and sign up today. How does it work? I'll show you here in just a second. It's super easy. All you do is pick the player, the more or less, send it in, and watch how it multiplies. I took so many mores this last college football weekend, I missed heavily. But you know what? It was my first week. I had to get a feel for it. That doesn't mean that you won't win tons of money if you download the Prize Picks app. So do me a favor. When you do download it, use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. I'll have all of that in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks. Run your game. Let's stick on the defensive side. We're going to go Billy Bowman Jr. Again, a player that we've talked nonstop about recently. But I think there's good reason for that. The coaching staff talks about him nonstop. We've broken down who he is as a player. An unbelievably versatile defensive back. He is a defensive back. He's not a safety. He's not a nickel corner. He's both. He's NFL ready with speed and quickness. That part I'm not concerned about. His instinctiveness as a defensive back and his anticipation as one is also unmatched. I saw a couple people get down in the comment section saying, why on earth are you talking about his lack of size and frame? Well, probably because he does need to put on a little bit more weight. Just a little bit, because what he has shown on the tape is an ability to not be as good of a solo stopper. He has a problem finishing tackles. Most of that is a strength problem. He's young. He's a kid. He has not developed into his fully grown man body yet. Think about it. He's going to hit 26 or 27 years old. He's going to put on 10 to 15 pounds naturally just because your body's metabolism starts to slow down. So if he does put on a little bit more size, I think you can shift him back to safety at some point. There's so many possibilities for Billy Bowman. And last year, productive-wise, wasn't nearly as good as his 2023 season. But it was still really good. 34 tackles, 3 PBUs, 2 interceptions. His 2023 season, he had 6 picks. So he's got great ball instincts. And he can climb the box. The hype is sky high right now. I think that's exactly why you put him in as your starter over D. Alford. Alford gets cooked more times than bacon. It's the way it is. Alford is a rotational piece at best. So Billy Bowman, I'm on board the hype train. Can't wait to watch him play. But he's a difference maker. Now I'm sure you're wondering, okay, you can't be all on defense now, Moose, right? Well, yeah, you know what? I'll give you that. That's fair. Let's go to the offense. Ray. And Ray McCloud is coming off of his best season as a wide receiver in the NFL. Took a while. Definitely going back and looking at his final stat projections. I saw Ray McCloud and I was like, man, it was really an outlier season for him in 2024. It was so much better this last year than any season he had before. And the great thing about Ray is you could play him in the slot and you can also move him outside. He's a versatile wide receiver. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to play him outside because obviously Darnell Mooney and Drake London are going to be your X and your Y, and then Casey Washington can also come in and play an outside receiver. But his best season was in 2024, and I think there was a reason for that. It's because you were able to move him in the slot and move him outside. Believe it or not, did you know last year he took more snaps at outside wide receiver than he did in the slot? Probably leading to his career high in receiving yards. 686. Can do those both, like I said, wide, slot. And he's an established pass blocker. He had an 80.1 PFF grade as a pass blocker last year. I loved what I saw from Ray McCloud. I think he's just, like I said, scratching the surface of how good he can be with this Falcons team, especially now with Michael Penix Jr. at the helm. I think what you're going to see with the way that MPJ plays quarterback, he wants to get the ball out quick, and he also wants to air it out. He throws a beautiful deep ball. The best quarterbacks, in my opinion, understand when to get the ball out fast and when to take their shots. Far too often you see younger quarterbacks not really understanding that they have to get rid of the ball. They want to make a play. Caleb Williams did this way too often last year. Just try to run around and make a play. It's not college anymore, man. And that's where Michael Penix Jr.'s intelligence and his pocket awareness is so great. And that is what bleeds into your wide receivers having more successful seasons. It's because you understand. Once they're open off that little 4-yard slant or crossing route over the middle of the field, that ball's out, it's delivered on time and accurately. So Ray McCloud, I believe, can be a difference maker for this team. And finally, we just talked about him. It's MPJ. Why do you have MPJ last, Moose? Well, because I have the most to say about him. This is a passing league. The NFL is now designed to make quarterbacks more successful than they've ever been. And from what we saw when he played at Washington, and even in the small glimpses of last year's 2024 season, he showed his ability to be a leader. This team rallies around him. Specifically as a player, there's a lot to love. He's got masterful pocket awareness. His ability to slide up, slide left, slide right. All of that time in college has led him to this moment. He's NFL ready right now. He throws a beautiful football. His spiral is one of the best I've seen. It just flows out of his hand effortlessly. And that deep ball that I mentioned, you're going to see it a lot because he's got a wicked arm. a cannon. All that's going to come down to, for Michael Penix, in my opinion, is how can you scheme him successful? Because he's going to thrive in the pocket. So if your receivers can get open off the line of scrimmage, if your play design works for not only Drake London, but for Ray, Darnell Mooney, Kyle Pitts, MPJ is going to have an unbelievable full first starting season. And Z-Rob, he's going to stretch the field. You're going to see a lot of bombs to Drake, Ray, Kyle, Mooney, etc. Something that I believe you didn't see nearly as often as you wanted to last year with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins doesn't have nearly as strong of an arm, and he's a lot less mobile than Michael Penix. So show some love to QB1. Spam those 9s down in the comment section. Show a little bit of love to your new QB1. I'm going to spam my 9 down in the live chat of our live show right away. But let me know in the comment section. That's going to do it for us on today's episode, Falcons fans. A reminder to subscribe to the channel if you have not. Like the video if you haven't already. And as always, be cool. Sweet. Ooh. Matt says, I've noticed the players from the league give a lot more credit and props to Michael Penix. Yeah, because players know good players. They play against him every single week. You got media members like me that, we talk about what we see, and you'd like to think we know football, but at the end of the day, we're just talking about what we're watching. What we're seeing on TV, what we're seeing on YouTube, what we're seeing on highlights. Got guys that are actually going up against Michael Penix every single week. Believe me, they know what they're talking about. All right, coming up next, got our mailbag. Use hashtag Falcons. Let's wait a couple of minutes here to get a couple of more questions in, Producer Casey. And then we'll start with the mailbag, and then we'll end today's live show. Matt says, I'm pretty sure if Koo didn't miss his kicks last year, they go 12-4. Yeah, he was not good last year. It was bad. It was real bad. I'm still in Will Johnson. Yeah, Will Johnson is having a really good camp, believe it or not. I've been reading a little bit about him. I actually had to do a mini study of him on film the other day, and from what I saw at Cardinals training camp, granted the only real wide receiver they've got is Marvin Harrison Jr. He looked really good. I don't think Will Johnson is ever one of those players that's going to be like a top 5 corner, but I think like he'll be a starting cornerback in the NFL for 10 years. Does that make sense? Like a starting caliber cornerback, somebody that like will always be right in the middle of the pack. He'll never be bad enough to get traded, but he'll never be good enough to be considered top 5. Yeah. I think it's also hard. I'm talking to Adam now because Adam says it wasn't the case with Matt Ryan. He won the MVP and the players voted him like 10th. I think it's hard to hate on a guy that has not shown a bunch yet because, Penix has only played in, 3.5 games? So it's tough to shit on a guy this early on in his career because he hasn't really done anything yet. So I feel like when they're looking at him, they're like, whoa, this guy's going to be so good because the hype is real. They haven't seen enough of him yet, whereas Matt Ryan had 7 or 8 seasons as your starting quarterback, even more maybe, when he went to the Super Bowl. So this real quick. All right. Couple more questions. We'll start our mailbag. Couple more. Let's get 2 to 3 more here. What the hell? There we go. My computer is being an absolute butthole. It really is. Yes, exactly. Robert, thank you. He says there's way more hype behind Penix than when Matt Ryan got drafted. Absolutely. Could not agree more. All right. One more question, and then we'll start our mailbag. All right, cool stuff. Cool stuff. All right, let's get in our mailbag cut here, and then we'll end today's live show. We've only got about 14 minutes, so let's keep an eye on that time, by the way. If this is a little bit of a shorter mailbag, that's fine. Okay, cool. All right, let's get into our mailbag here. All the Falcons questions that you need to know. Welcome in, Falcons fans, to our mailbag edition of Falcons Today Live. At the time of this recording, we are live at Tuesday at about 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, answering your questions about the Dirty Birds heading into Week 1. Let's, of course, start with our friend, Mr. Pierce Clark. Gotta love that little Fortnite banana logo there. Do you think it was the right decision going back in the first round to get James Pierce? At the time, I didn't quite understand it because I thought you just drafted Jalen Walker. Then to get rid of your first round for next year, to jump back into the first and draft James Pierce Jr., I just, at the time, it didn't make a lot of sense to me. And then the more and more that I saw James Pierce Jr. play, and the more and more what I read about his skill set, and then watching him in the preseason, the more and more I understood why the Falcons moved back up. This kid has the ability to be the next great pass rusher. He's got all of the tangibles that you want. It's just going to come down to how quickly does he acclimate to the NFL game. He's got the speed. He's got the size. He's got the power. He's got the agility. He's got everything you want. He is your stereotypical prototype NFL edge rusher. And I think that's exactly why the Falcons moved back up. They couldn't take the chance at somebody else drafting this guy. And he plays differently than what Jalen Walker does. So that's why now I believe, and I'll happily admit I was wrong. I now understand why they moved back in to draft James Pierce Jr. Appreciate it, Pierce. Lav, what receiver do you think will be Penix's primary red zone target this year? Receiver, Drake London. But if I had to give my second opinion, Ray. And I say Ray because you can do so much with him. You can move him outside wide. You can move him into the slot. There's so many different abilities and opportunities for Ray to get involved in a multitude of different packages. Plus, he's coming off of the most receiving yards he's ever had in an entire season. So Ray McCloud, I think, has the opportunity to now showcase his ability, find the end zone more than once than he did last year, and 4 or 5 touchdowns, 750 to 800 yards receiving. Who says no? So I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be Drake, but Ray is a solid number 2. Dat one Falcons fan. Who gets the first sack, interception, and touchdown of the season? All right, so let's go in order here. First sack, Jalen Walker. He's more NFL ready week 1, more stereotypical, like understands bull rush, understands setting the edge, stops the run, does well against the pass. I think it's Jalen Walker. Interception, go A.J. Terrell. I want to say Billy Bowman, but I'm going to say A.J. Terrell, best corner on the team. First touchdown of the season, Bijan. It's going to be Bijan Robinson. I could easily see week 1 against Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Bijan breaking like a 45-yard scamper and just taking it to the house. So give me that in that order. Walker, Terrell, Bijan. Thanks to that one Falcons fan for getting in on the show. Pedro, what are realistic expectations for Ruka Row? Row your boat. I think a solidified defensive lineman. And I'll explain a little bit here. Last year, Rook only appeared in 8 games. So it was hard to kind of know what he was without a larger sample size. I would like him to be more of an anchor. I think he and Brandon Dorlus have the opportunity right now to kind of set that interior defensive pressure and kind of lock up that run-stopping game. I don't need Rook to go after the quarterback nearly as much. I kind of want him to be the anchor of that defensive line. He and Brandon Dorlus can definitely do that. So if I'm looking at a realistic expectation for him, I would like to see him at least 8 tackles for loss. That would be kind of like my baseline. Anything more would be gravy. But 8 tackles for loss is what I'm kind of looking for here. And maybe some good pass rush win rate. You know, maybe that number gets a little bit higher than it was last year as well. Appreciate you, Pedro, getting in on the show. Now, before we get into some more questions here from Falcons fans, by Falcons fans, I have to tell you about our friends over at Prize Picks. This is the best place to get real money sports action all season long. Just pick 2 to 6 players, their stat projections, pick the more or the less, and ride it on in. It is the best way to win real money sports action all season long. Like I said, join millions of players today and sign up. How does it work? Like this. Pick the player, the more or less, watch it multiply, send it in, and just let the cash flow, my friends. A little money manziel for you. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. I'll have all of that ready for you in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks. Run your game. Peak. Cool name. Falcons, do you think Bijan has a chance to win NFC Offensive Player of the Year? I'll do you one better. He's going to be in high contention for MVP. Bijan Robinson almost had 2,000 scrimmage yards last year, 15 total touchdowns. This is one of the best running backs, one of the best players in the NFL. He's got a legitimate shot to do what Saquon, take 2, Saquon Barkley did last year. Bijan, Saquon, you see, that's why you have that long J sound. But my point remains. Bijan Robinson is an absolute stud. I think you're looking at the emergence of, if he continues this reign, you could be talking about Hall of Famer. You really can. This guy is incredible. And I can't wait to watch what he does in 2025 because I think what you're going to look at is one of those MVP type seasons. JDDC. Excuse me. Do you see Clark Phillips playing any kind of significant role on this defense? I have a feeling he could break out. You know, it's funny. I originally thought that, because I had made a video a couple weeks ago that listed him as a cut candidate because of his injury. And I was like, you haven't seen him all offseason long. And Falcons fans were like, no, they're not going to cut him. And they didn't. I just don't know how much of a rotation he gets in on this team. Natrone Brooks has been a player that has stood out this entire camp. Had a good preseason. Granted, he's not a very good tackler. But I also think that there are so many opportunities now for these other guys. Hell, D. Alford's going to try and show something. He's already lost his nickel cornerback spot to Billy Bowman. So let's be honest. If he's not going to take Terrell's job. And the only way I could see him getting on the field is if Mike Hughes struggles. So no, I don't really see him as a breakout role. But what I do see is if he does come in with a little extra secret sauce, it's going to be as a rotational piece over the likes of a guy like D. Alford. We do have a super chat to get to. EHYGO. What is MP9 throw, or what is MP9 throws for 5K yards? So I'm assuming it means what if MP9 throws for 5K. Okay. Not high considering how many quarterbacks have thrown for 5,000 yards in their like no. Let's get to 4,000 first. Let's get to 4,000 and then work our way up from there. I actually had, if I went back and looked at my Michael Penix Jr. predictions, I think I had him just under 4,000 yards. It's like 3,870 something or 3,900, something like that. It's close. But let's get to 4K before we get to 5K. But I appreciate your super chat, my friend. Thank you so much for getting in on the show. Last one, we'll start or end it how we started it. Pierce, do you think there is a possibility to trade Algier? I don't want to. It's the Thunder to Bijan's Lightning. I feel like Falcons fans know this. He is so much better than people give him credit for. He's one of the best number twos in the league. This Falcons run, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Now, I will say this, hypothetically speaking, to kind of play along with what you're saying. If there's like an offer that you can't refuse, if there's like a 3rd round pick and a player, you take it. You got to take it, or at least explore the opportunity. But unless the offer is like so good and someone's so desperate for a running back, keep it the exact same way. You're going to need someone on 3rd and short to bully their way forward and get those first downs, or at the goal line, bully their way into the end zone. I really think if it's not broke, don't fix it, don't trade. But again, anything is possible if the price is right. That is going to do it for us on today's mailbag episode. A reminder to like the video if you haven't. Subscribe to the channel if you have not. Take 2. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, Falcons fans. As always, rise up and be cool. Oh my God, dude, I was stumbling, rumbling, bumbling through that last bit there. Right before 11:50. All right. Well, that is going to do it for us. We'll give you one more minute. We'll do one more minute if you want to donate to the live show. Actually, make it 2 minutes because that'll take us like right to 11:50 where we can end it, if that makes sense. 2 minutes to get your last second super chats in. If you want to donate to my little mini wedding fund and support Falcons today, here's how you can do it. We have not gotten any beers, cheers, or wedding beers in there. We've only gotten one $2 super chat, which, of course, we're grateful for. But if you want to support, you obviously can, and send in a little last-minute super chat. If you, I think that's what it is. Archangel, appreciate it, my friends. Hey! There it is, that last-minute. You just sent in the 20, the honeydew wheel. All right, let's see what's on the honeydew wheel real quick. I've got it right here. Alexa sent this to me. My fiance sent this to me this morning when I told her we're going to do the honeydew wheel. So she came up with the wheel of stuff that she wants me to do after we get married. Let's take a look. I'm pulling it up right now. It's in my email. Okay, here it is. All right. More laundry help. Dishes more than twice a week. I feel like, no, I load the dishwasher I don't hand wash them more than twice a week. I load the dishwasher more than twice a week. Let's see what else is on this list. More date nights. That one I can definitely do a better job at. It's been tough, obviously, since we've been planning the wedding. You know, we don't have all the cash flow in the world to go out and do date nights. So more date nights. Oh. More foot rubs. That girl, I swear to God, that's like her favorite love language is a foot rub. If you rub her feet, she is, yeah, dude, it's weird, but she loves it. She loves the foot rubs. So, hey, appreciate you, EHYGO. Thank you so much, my friend, for sending in that super chat. So we're gonna let Alexis choose which one she gets more there on the honeydew wheel. We'll go one more minute if anybody wants to get a last-minute super chat to help support the show and my wedding.
Rise up the toes.
Rise up the toes. That is crazy. Yeah, dude, it's like her favorite thing in the world is a foot rub. It is her favorite thing. She would rather have a foot rub than a full massage. If you offer her a 60-minute full body massage or a 20-minute foot rub, she'd take the foot rub all day long.
That's a long foot rub, though.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? She hates feet. She loves her feet rubbed, but hates feet. How do you get that? Like, that's a... Hail Bijan Robinson. Okay. That's a little weird. We're going to move on from that one. All right. We just hit 11:50. Unless we get any last-minute ones coming in right now, I think that's going to end up doing it for today's live show. Producer Casey and I have to make some cuts. We got to go do our little meeting here with the rest of the Chat Sports office. So we're going to sign off today. Falcons fans, it's a pleasure to hang out with you on this Tuesday afternoon. 5. There it is! I got a $10 super chat. Way to end it. Way to end it, Trey. Coming in with the $10. That's a wedding beer. That I can absolutely add to the list. Wedding beer. So that's one extra wedding beer. Thank you, Trey. That's an extra Blue Moon for me. Which, by the way, it's like my favorite light beer. I was drinking a bunch of them at Mitch's house on Saturday.
Blue Moon, first simple beer I had.
Was it really? Ravens Rundown host Joey Peterson says that the first beer that he ever had was a Blue Moon. It's a hell of a first beer.
Throw a little orange in there.
Oh, it's delicious. Oh, it's delicious. Delightful. Thank you, Trey, my friend. I appreciate everything that you send in and supporting the channel and me as well. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Cannot wait to share the rest of the 2025 season with you. As I was saying before we got the super chat, my friends, 5 days away. We are 5 days away from Falcons football.
Woo-woo. Rise up.
I'm fired up, man. I get married on Friday. I got college football watching with all of my groomsmen party and all the bridal party on Saturday. I travel back home Sunday. So I will not be here live for the Tampa Bay game. But after that week 1, trust me, I'll make a video for you too. We're going to cover the game. That's not the problem. It's the watch party won't be back in time for. But after that, I'm 100% yours, my friends. So make sure you rise up. Get ready for week 1. And as always, Falcons fans, be cool.